Now, the U.S. Defense Secretary has warned that cyber attacks could inflict as much damage on America as the physical attacks of 9/11. Leon Panetta told an audience of business leaders that an aggressor nation or extremist group could derail trains, contaminate water supplies, or shut down the power grid across large parts of the country. He said the U.S. must be ready to take preemptive action if a serious cyber attack is imminent.
The most destructive scenarios involve cyber actors launching several attacks on our critical infrastructure at one time, in combination with a physical attack on our country. Attackers could also seek to disable or degrade critical military systems and communication networks. The collective result of these kinds of attacks could be a cyber Pearl Harbor.
Well, joining me from New York is Noah Shechtman, who writes on cybersecurity for the Brookings Institution think tank and for Wired magazine. And Noah, very dramatic words. Do you think he's overdoing it a little bit?
Well, this is the 20th anniversary of the first declaration of a digital Pearl Harbor. It's been a concern of military leaders for decades, and so far nothing's come of it.
Why do you think then that Leon Panetta is saying this now, raising this specter?
Well, I think a couple of things. First of all, the U.S. acknowledged earlier this year that it was behind a campaign of cyber espionage in Iran that destroyed over 1,000 centrifuges. So in a sense, I think Panetta is actually scared about something that the U.S. has already done.
But he does raise the possibility of large sections of infrastructure being taken out, whether you're talking about industry or energy or transport. This is something where presumably the U.S. is aware it's vulnerable.
It's true. The more we connect things to the internet, the more we connect our critical systems to the internet, the more vulnerable we become. On the other hand, 2 million people lost power in Washington, D.C. recently because of a nice-sized rainstorm. And I think you'd see a cyber attack simulate something like that, perhaps.
And when he's talking about preemptive strikes, I mean, what does that mean in cyber terms?
Well, to me, he's sort of talking about it in military terms, and maybe that makes sense because, he's the head of the Pentagon and all. But to me, the real threat going on right now that's happening all around us is that, millions of us are seeing our bank accounts cleaned out. Many of the biggest companies are seeing their critical intellectual property be stolen. To me, that's sort of, the danger that we face immediately right this second, not some hypothetical harm that might happen to us in the future.
As a writer on cybersecurity, is it comforting to you to think of all those Pentagon resources that could be plowed into better technology?
The Pentagon certainly does have a lot of resources. Unfortunately, most of their resources so far have been plowed into cyber offense, into finding new ways to making our computers insecure, not to locking them up. If they'd spend just a little bit more money helping to lock up our networks, I'd feel a lot better.
Noah Shechtman, thank you for joining us from New York.